Hi everybody and welcome to another season of Bengal Magazine. It has been a great summer and it continues here in late August, as you can tell. Behind me we've got a little scrimmage going on with the men's soccer team, and we are going to talk soccer. First up is women's soccer. Nick DeMarsh joins us along with Jordan Dudish, a sophomore from Grand Island. And then Rudy Pompert, the men's soccer coach, joins us with Tony Schiappa. He's a senior from Williamsville East. And then of course late August, early September means football. Jerry Boyce, the football coach here at the Bengals, he's going to bring along Ben Maurer, his senior fullback. So we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're talking soccer. All right, let's talk a little soccer, and we're joined by the women's soccer program. Nick DeMarsh, now in his 9th year as the Bengals coach, and Nick is bringing along Jordan Dudish. And welcome to the show. Nick, let's talk about a little bit about last year and how that may carry over into this year. What an outstanding year, 11-6-3, 6-2-1 in the conference, semifinals of the conference playoffs. You were coach of the year. Is it something now where, now that this season's here, we want to forget about that season, or do you want to carry things over into this year?
Well, I mean, we did have a lot of success, and we've continued to build over the years. We definitely don't want to forget about our last season. We want to, of course, try to build on that, recognize some of the things we could have done better, and improve on those things. But certainly carry on with the tradition and the belief in winning. Right.
Jordan, is it the same for a student athlete? Do you kind of take last year and maybe move it along into this year, or is it time to say that's over with? Everybody's 0-0 right now.
I would carry it over, not fully, but remember it and not hold it against us, but keep moving forward and go past where we did last year.
Fantastic. You had mentioned to me in the hallway sometime during the off season that, wow, what a great season we had, and it's really kind of catapulting us in recruiting too. How did last year help you? You were able to knock on some doors that maybe you weren't able to knock on before?
Well, it's interesting because, you know, when we play, obviously we want local talent to come and see us play, and hopefully we make a good impression, and these players kind of say, hey, I want to be part of something like that. That team was really tough. They play a good brand of soccer. So yeah, it does get a higher caliber player interested in us. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to come, but players that wouldn't look at us before are now saying, hey, you know, Buffalo State, that seems like something I could be part of.
There you go. Let's talk about this season. A general overview. It looks, as I look at the roster, a nice mix of upperclassmen and some youth in there. Give us a general synopsis of the team this year.
Well, as has become the tradition, we do have a great deal of balance. I don't think you ever want to lean on your new players because they don't have the experience. And then if you're always with the seniors and juniors, you know, then your freshmen are freshmen for 2 or 3 years. So we have always tried to blend and make sure that our freshmen get the experience they need as freshmen, so they come back and they're able to contribute more as upperclassmen. We're very balanced. I think we've got outstanding players at every position. We do have a few freshmen that may start. We've got some very good transfers. But the core of our team, those are returners, and they know what to do.
Okay. And one of them is sitting right next to you. And let me talk to you first. Was it a surprise at all as to the level of her competitiveness last year? I mean, as a freshman, being named to the first team all-conference, which I believe I know has never been done in the history of Buffalo State. Did that surprise you that she was able to get to that level that quickly?
No, no one was surprised. I wasn't surprised, least of all Jordan. She wasn't surprised at all. She knows full well about her experience and her talent. I coached her in club soccer, so I was very familiar with her game. I knew her potential and what she could do. And I watched her throughout her high school career. She's a very highly experienced, very tactical, intelligent, physical player. She has all the tools.
Did she give you $20 to say that or something?
No, that's just,
she's smiling over here.
That's just how it is. That's just what we know about her.
Did last year surprise you? Is that true? I mean, you thought you were going to come in and have that kind of season?
I knew I was going to come in and be confident and continue what I did to get to this position.
Correct.
Because I played at a high level all through high school. I played for Syracuse in my freshman year, so I started looking at schools already right in the beginning of high school. So I was playing at a high level throughout all of high school, and I knew that coming in here, I could contribute to the team in a positive way. And I was a little surprised when he said that I had made first team all conference. I mean, I wasn't really expecting that, but it was a good surprise.
And what about this year now, Jordan? What are you working on this year? I mean, you're at an elite level, obviously, already in the conference. Your peers have noticed you. His peers have noticed you. What do you work on personally to get yourself better and better?
One thing that I continuously work on is winning the balls out of the air. That's one of our main things as a defender and within our team, is to win our 50-50 battles. And playing in the central defense, you have to be able to do that. And personally, I didn't think I was as consistent as last year as I should have been. And so that's one thing that I'm working on a great deal. And also starting the offense.
Interesting. Bring that into layman's terms for me. What is she trying to do there? What do you want her to do more of or better?
Every league is different. The SUNY is a very blue-collar, physical league.
Okay.
It's not like some of the other leagues, you know, that
more finesse.
It's really about hard work and battling for the ball. So a lot of teams, they tell you what they're going to do before the game. They're going to serve balls into their forwards, and they're going to try to knock them down and win the second ball. Okay. And we have to make sure that our back line is able to joust and win that ball out of the air, and that our midfield can pick up that second ball and start our attack. So that's one of the things that our back line has become better and better at, is just dealing with flighted balls and dealing with that direct style of play that the SUNY is known for.
Now, with this core back, and knowing what you did last year, coaching philosophy going into this year, is it the same game plan, the Nick DeMarsh game plan, or do you expand that playbook a little bit because you know who you have back?
Every year we look at our statistics and we try to measure where we've been and where we want to go. We led the SUNY last year in shots for, so that needs to continue. We need to make more chances than our opponent. Defensively, though, unfortunately, we also led the league in fouls, which shows how aggressive we are and that we're playing on the edge, but it also shows a little lack of discipline. We need to clean up those fouls, particularly in the defensive third, so they don't lead to opportunities on our goal. We have to just clean up those careless fouls that allow the other team to take a set piece and serve it into our box. That needs to stop.
So it's not real. And last year, defense was probably what you concentrated on. I remember you telling me that. Is that correct or not? Or
yes and no. The only reason we want to defend is so that we can attack.
Okay.
So, you know, it wasn't our best defensive year. I think in 2008 we only conceded 8 goals in conference. Last year we conceded 14.
Okay.
So we need to clean that up. Under 10 goals in conference is our goal.
Gotcha.
So a lot of that comes from set pieces. We cannot concede so many set pieces and allow the other team to serve balls into the 6-yard box.
Okay. We got about a minute left, but I'm very curious about something off campus, and that's the World Cup. And how does that affect even the collegiate level? Do you, with all the publicity that happens with the World Cup, et cetera, do you sense a different, not attitude, but there's a different awareness of women's soccer over the last year and a half or so up until the World Cup and then after it?
Well, I think women's soccer grows more and more every year. I think this World Cup was a great experience for the American soccer fan because you got to see our team in the final, and they came up a little short, but it was a thrilling game, an outstanding game, and it got the young players, the young female potential student athletes really interested again in the sport. Right. So now you see a lot of kids, hey, I'm Abby Wambach, hey, you know, they kind of emulate, and there's more interest then in our team. So you see a lot of the local kids from the clubs and high schools, maybe they want to come out and watch one of our games and kind of get involved on a peripheral level. That all stems from the top. Yeah,
it's interesting. Well, I know you have your first game is tomorrow after our show airs, and that's against Damon, I believe, right here. Yeah. So best of luck to you, and Jordan, keep it up.
Thank you.
All conference this year too. Jordan, Nick, thanks for being on the show. When we come back, we're going to talk men's soccer right after this. Let's talk a little more soccer. We're joined by the men's soccer program right now, Rudy Pompert and Tony Schiappa. Tony's a senior from Williamsville East, and welcome, gentlemen. A quick overview of the team this year. You've been in camp for a couple weeks now. What are your thoughts?
This is one of the nicest or best preseasons that I think we've had since a long time.
Okay.
Atmosphere-wise, the good work that we've done with the guys. Every day you could see a little bit better. And we've had, a lot of the young guys, because we had 14 freshmen
Absolutely.
on the roster.
Right.
You can see a huge difference now between freshman and sophomore. They're getting used to the way I want them to play soccer. We're lucky with a couple of transfers, but we're also very lucky or happy that some of the seniors or players that were injured last year and were out for the whole year, like Tony and Brett Lanham, they're back. They're good players. So, the whole level of the program and the team is just up.
How hard was it for you last year to be sitting on the sidelines and not being able to contribute at all?
It was very frustrating from start to finish. I mean, you never want to be sitting on the sideline watching your boys go to war, and you're kind of helpless, watching in. And at first I was very disappointed, but coming back, I saw that everyone's back, everyone's stronger, everyone's a year better, and we really have a great shot this year. I'm just extremely excited to go to work with all these guys.
So you're back in the trenches, and it's your senior year.
Yeah.
And it's done after this year. What are you trying to accomplish this year?
You take it for granted. My freshman year, we made the playoffs. Right. And we had a great year, and you kind of think, all right, we lost, but I'll be back next year, or I'll be back the next year. And we've had great seasons, but every year we just couldn't get over that hump. Right. And looking around the locker room this year, this is our chance. So it's all about winning now. This is my last year. The party's over. There's no tomorrow.
The real world hits pretty soon, pal.
The real world hits tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So you can talk about all the individual goals and this, that, and about having fun, and that's all great. But at the end of the day, we want to win a SUNY championship.
He's talking about getting over the hump. What is going to get us over the hump this year? Certainly having your top 3 scorers back from last year, bringing this guy back. You've got 4 guns now in the lineup. Yeah. What's going to get you over the hump?
I think that, and Tony already mentioned a little bit, you only really have one chance. You don't get it back. You don't get, today back. If you play the game and it's over, you don't get that back. And I think the guys realize that now. It's business time now, and I think that's a little bit of a big difference. There's more, maturity, and it's more about, getting those little things done right. And I think that's really what it's about, like the details. They understand now why I'm always hammering on take the ball with the correct leg, touch the ball into space when you receive it, like little things like that, or take 4 more steps to the left or to the right so you open yourself up and things become easier. Now they start to see it because, they've been doing it and I've been telling them 1,000 times, but now they realize if I do it, it actually works.
Well, and you had mentioned something about the freshmen now being sophomores, and is there that big of a noticeable of a difference from your perspective from one year to another?
Yeah, the great thing is, what happens when you have a whole group of freshmen, you have like 10 days of preseason and then the season starts and you start playing, and you don't really get a chance to build something and to get these kids accustomed to college soccer. Now, so they went through the season last year, and then we had the spring where we could really take our time, and the guys were always playing, and we had our spring season, and for 4 weeks, even though you only get a limited amount of practice sessions, we can really talk about, okay, this is what we want to do, and in a kind of a calm way you can work on that. And then they come back and they came here already with the idea, like, this is how we want to play.
Gotcha.
And you get some new players in, so sometimes you look like, oh, maybe this can work, maybe that can work. And then after a couple of days, like, this is how we're going to do it, this is how we're going to work. And they're already used to it. They already have that experience from last year, so that's a big change. That's a
and
big
in camp this year, considering that, do things change a little bit in camp, what you're trying to teach, or is it, are you tweaking certain things? Are you working on other things?
Yeah.
How is camp this year compared to last year?
Well, my philosophy is always, if you want to get better at soccer, you play soccer. So at practice, during preseason, everything is soccer. If you do conditioning, you do it in soccer because you're conditioning for soccer. So everything we do relates is soccer. But now you can, every activity we do is focused on really the style of play, how we play, and that's that's a little bit different than with last year because the guys understand now what you want, and that's a really that's a huge difference. Yeah.
Now I understand you have a British exchange student on the team this year. Why don't you mention him and how that all happened?
Yeah, well he was just interested in.
I'm sorry, what's his name again?
Alfonso Bennett. And then something else comes with it.
Okay.
We all call him, Fonzie, so
there you
that's
go.
it.
We'll call him Fonzie.
I saw the other day on the roster, he actually has another name with it too.
As long as he can play soccer.
Big kid, I think Coach Boys would love to have
is
him.
That right?
Oh
okay.
yeah. But he wanted to play. He went to he goes to the University in Manchester that we have this exchange program with. He wanted to play soccer in the U.S. He has an aunt who lives in New York, so that's how he got with Buffalo, with Buff State. It is always fun to have a kid, from Europe, on your team because they bring a little bit of.
I knew you were going to say
that little different flavor, the soccer flavor,
the football,
football flavor.
There you go.
And that would be the same as if you, if a kid from our, football team would go play American football, if they would have it in Manchester or whatever. So. Or basketball, for example.
Right.
It is different. So it's great, and right away, just talk and direct the defense because, that's how they play, and that's so it's nice to have that. Now we've had exchange students too try out. I mean, they couldn't even tie their own shoes, but but he's a player, So and that's great, So that helps.
Well, men's soccer starts their home schedule on September 7th against the Uval right here at Coyer Field at 4 o'clock. Tony, thanks for being on the show. Rudy, thank you, and best of luck on September 7th for your home opener.
Yep.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I still got good hands. Jerry Boys in football right after this. All right, we're going to talk a little football now with Jerry Boyce in his third year as the Bengals head coach, return as the head coach. He's also the athletics director here. And Ben Maurer will be joining us, our senior fullback. And Jerry, it's a good opportunity just to talk a little bit about last year and the great season the athletics program had in 2010-2011.
Yes, it was, Tom. The best, really, arguably, certainly in the last 3 decades of Buffalo State athletics. And it's kind of, some people say, how do you judge that? And with us, we have what's called the State University of New York Commissioner's Cup, and there's a rating and a point system in that. And we finished 4th for the first time ever. It's the highest finish we've ever had. Right. Really based on the strength of our basketball and track programs and the strong finishes of our lacrosse, softball. So it really was just a tremendous year, and a lot of the work that's gone in the last half a dozen years is really, I'm hoping, starting to show.
Right, and now it's okay. That was last year, and what have you done for me this year? It's time for a whole new year, correct, Mr. Athletic Director?
It really is. You know what was done last year is last year. Right. Brand new year, and we hope to build on that.
Well, I think that's a good lead into the football program, too, because last year was an interesting year for you guys. It was kind of muddled a little bit, and then all of a sudden at the end of the year, boom, things seemed to click in, and you ran 3 straight wins off to close the season. What happened last year? Was it a matter of things finally clicking in and the kids understanding execution and what they had to do, or what was your take on last year?
Well, Tom, I hope. And Ben has heard me talk about this to the team. There's a process that goes in. Anytime there's a change, and we had a change, a new head football coach. In the first year when there's change, it's really how people adjust to that change and really how quickly you get through the adversity. Right. Because there's going to be some adversity.
Right.
There's going to be people that like to change and some don't like to change. And quite frankly, to have that adversity, the sooner the better. Right. We went through that. It's kind of like a storm coming through.
Okay.
But the change is the start. It's kind of the coming together, first stage. And that first year, I like to think that we got into that second stage as a result of the adversity. The kids that hung with us started keeping together.
Okay.
This past year, as the season went on, I do believe we got to be towards that third stage, which is the success stage, and that's working together. And I think that's what happened at the end of the year. Now, I think it's happened because people on campus say, hey, geez, coach, it looked like you turned the corner. That's the question.
Right.
Have we turned the corner?
Right.
Ben and the rest of the guys on the team will answer that this season.
Yeah, and did you sense that last year at the end of last season, Ben, that the team was starting to maybe make that turn with those 3 wins?
I did. Towards the end of the year, that coach said, it was more about we started to believe in ourselves. Mm-hmm. We trusted ourselves. We knew going into games that we were going to win. When we first started off the program, when he first came in, we were still kind of had like a losing mentality.
Right. Coach,
he flipped that around real quick with his ways, and we basically we had to believe in ourselves. We had to work hard, get prepared, and the harder we worked, the more we realized we can beat teams, we can play.
There seems to be, if I'm reading the community right, and I'm reading this campus community right, some high expectations for this team this year. I think high is the right word. I think people are expecting the return of the Bengals from your previous coaching stint. Do you embrace that, Jer, or do you kind of go, whoa, let's not go so fast here quite yet?
Oh, no, I embrace that, Tom, because I have high expectations. I never lower those expectations. I fully expect this team to be successful. There's things that I think are in place. Now it's really the players. Mm-hmm. It really is a large part on Ben's shoulders as one of the captains and leaders on this team to make sure that we take care of those little details, and a lot of them are the behind-the-scenes details, sure, Tom, that really will define us as a team.
Right.
And Ben said a real important thing. We had we're going to win attitude back in the 90s. Then it became, oh, geez, we hope we're going to win.
Right.
And now we've got to get back to that. And we're staring at that hump right now.
And Ben, do you embrace that as a 2-time captain here? I mean, what a great compliment. Your peers vote you as a captain as a junior, you're back captaining as a senior. Do you embrace that leadership role, and did you expand on that at the end of last season to keep this team together and get them to win those last 3 games?
I most definitely embrace it. It's a great honor to have your peers, your team, people that look up to you, embrace me as their captain, especially right, as a sophomore, because usually they picked all captains, and me and Brandon Hodgins, we got picked to be as juniors, as captains last year, and we had a lot to live up to, being underclassmen. But in a way, I think it helped the team a lot.
Right.
Because not only did the senior and the senior class help out, but then us as underclassmen, we got the underclassmen as well to look up to us and be like, all right, we can do this too. We can lead the team without having to actually be a captain. Like, we can have leaders throughout the entire team.
With these high expectations, and you said it's there. I embrace that. So what has to happen this year? What has to happen on the field to make this team, turn this team into with a winning record now?
Well, and part of it, I think we talked a little bit about it, but it really comes down to the execution out on the field.
Okay.
Because in our league, which is arguably one of the toughest there is in Division III football, anybody can beat us.
Right.
If we don't stop ourselves, I say we can beat anybody.
Same attitude?
I believe so. I kind of like that we're going in and playing what is projected as the #1 team in our section. They think they're going to run all over us. They think they're going to do what they want, but at the same time, they have more to lose than we do. So we can go in there with the attitude that this is our game. We can do what we want. When we beat them, we're going to send echoes through the entire division, telling the Buffalo State we're here to play.
Well, it's a hell of a matchup and a great start to your season down at Cortland this Saturday. I wish you the best of luck. Jerry, Ben, thanks for being on. That's going to wrap up this show For Bengal Magazine, thanks to Rudy and Nick and Jerry for being on the show. We'll see you again in 2 weeks for more Bengal Magazine.